Hello, I am Rachel Eaton. I am the provider at IV Rejuvenation Clinic. I'm here with Cheryl Mullen. And this is our first time doing a podcast, so bear with us as we try to get through this.
Be kind.
And the whole purpose, the reason why we're doing this is because actually someone had suggested to me to do a podcast, and at first I was like, no, I'm so terrified of social media, although I've been trying to do more. But I'm very uncomfortable with it. But then it occurred to me, the things that we do here at IV Rejuvenation, a lot of people don't understand.
That's right.
So I guess I should start by explaining what we do here.
Yes, let's tell everybody who you are and how you got here.
Okay, so I am a nurse practitioner, and I've been a nurse for an RN for 30 years. Most of my experience is in critical care, ICU, telemetry, PACU, but then I also did 10 years of psychiatry. So I've done some home care. I've worked for the correctional system, so I've done quite a bit.
You're very well-rounded.
I like to think so. Geriatrics, I love geriatrics. I still dabble in that. But a few years back, my daughter became ill. She developed breast cancer, and I had to take a lot of time off. So when I became a nurse practitioner, oh my goodness, the work hours are crazy.
Yes.
A lot of hours. And when my daughter became sick, I wanted more time. I took time off to help her out and my grandchildren. And I just was thinking a lot about, gosh, I'm getting older and I'm working more now.
I was going to say, as we all do at this point in our lives, you start thinking about things have changed and you wanted to adapt.
Yes, and what am I doing? And now I'm worried about having time to spend with my family, not just her, but my mother is getting up in years. Right. She lives with me now. And how can I do what I do, but still have time for my family? So I started looking online and came across the IV hydration, and I found it very interesting. I've always had a little bit of an interest in homeopathic or natural functional medicine, we call it. And I started looking into that, and I thought, and I could probably help my daughter too with that. So I started doing that. I don't even think I really thought much about it. I just did it. And I loved it. I started doing the IVs, but they're not real popular in this area, or at least they weren't 2 years ago when I started. As you know, I think they're getting more popular. They're probably more popular in the cities and the West Coast.
And to your point, that's the great part about the podcast, because I think it's just that we don't know. It just hasn't been that big in New Jersey yet, especially South Jersey. So I think this is a great part of the podcast that we can let everybody know and educate them on what it can do.
Yeah. And so I started doing that, just doing the IV fluids and trying to help people build a stronger immune system, healthier bodies, wellness, and to prevent things so that we don't develop chronic issues. So from there, with dealing with the different pharmacies that I deal with, I also came across the GLP medications, which are very popular now, and they help people lose weight. I actually tried them on, because I try everything on myself first. I tried them on myself, and I did lose weight. I lost 40 pounds. And everybody's like, oh, how did you do that? So I started offering it to others. And that actually ended up growing more than the IV hydration part of my business. And that's a lot of what we do here at IV Rejuvenation Clinic. We do medical weight loss, not just the GLP meds. There's other things we have to offer as well. I educated myself on all these things. We do the IV fluids. We also have an M-shaped machine now, which helps to target fat areas.
That's exciting.
Yes, we do lipodissolve to target fatty tissue to help get rid of that, and I'm looking to get into more things. So that's kind of what we do and how I got here.
Okay. All right. Well, that's quite a journey.
Yeah, and it's still going.
Yes, it is. And it's become very popular. You have a great practice here.
Thank you. Well, I want to talk about you for a minute.
Okay.
And why you're sitting here.
Me.
Why you're sitting here with me. I met you actually for the GLP at first, right?
Yes. Yep. It was definitely for the GLP. I was at a point in my life where perimenopause, menopause, whatever you want to call it at that time, I just could not lose the weight. I also have an autoimmune disease of Hashimoto's, which complicated things. No matter what I did, I read everything. I went down every social media platform sponsor to figure out what to do. I followed every diet, and like you, I was always very interested in the functional medicine and doing things naturally. So when you and my friend Barb got together and I tagged along, and I just was obsessed.
Yeah.
And then I started the GLP-1, and it was a game changer. 50 pounds later and plus, I feel amazing. Really, new life just breathed right back into me. I feel like I dropped 10 years because it was constant. And those of you who know with autoimmune disease, the inflammation was terrible. And then it just snowballs into more and more things. And so I fell in love with the process. I fell in love with Rachel and her team. And I decided to stick around and help out any way she can. So I'm here to help Rachel do her podcast.
Thank you, and I appreciate it. And I think, too, we become very good friends.
Yes.
Because you work for me sometimes, you help out in the office, and you're a very big part of this now, and I appreciate you.
I'm so proud of it. I was so proud to be a part of something here, and I love Rachel. And like I said, her team, her nurses are great. It doesn't matter who I come and see. It's a great meeting, a lot of knowledge. Anything that I've been facing, they've always helped me with suggestions. Anything with sleep problems, my hair was falling out. I'll tell you, they've been with me every step of the way.
Okay. All right, so, and I want to, again, to get back to the reason for the podcast is I want to get into each thing that we do. So, like, I hope to have one show just on IV hydration and what we have to offer and how it can help people. And one show just on GLP medications and how they can help. One, and have guests. I would also hope to have guests on. I have patients with MS. Maybe we can have them talk about. You can talk about Hashimoto's. We can get into that and what helps, what doesn't, what can help, so that we can help the people watching.
And you know what would be a great idea too, if those of you watching, if you want to put in the comments and let us know what you want to see, what you want to know about. Maybe there's something you heard of that Rachel can look into. We would love to hear from you also. Yeah, so I think that we can cover a lot of things and really hopefully reach a lot of people eventually and help people. Yes.
So, all right, I think that kind of explains how we got started here. So we could start today, I think, about talking about IVs. Okay. So I think a lot of people, well, you tell me, when you first heard about IV drips, what did you think it was?
I thought it was this like super juice. Super juice that I was gonna get pumped up with all this super juice and it was gonna help. I actually originally looked into the IV therapy when my husband has diabetes, and I had read about it for the diabetes process. And then as I started going down that rabbit hole, and the more I learned from you, I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much, so much. So I think that would be great, maybe even, have a guest come in and tell us what it did for them.
Yes, we will. We will definitely do that. But for today, I was thinking we would just talk about, so some of the, I think a lot of people think that it's what you do when you have a hangover or when you're dehydrated. And yeah, it can help those things, of course, but it can do so much more. It can help people, as I said, with MS. It can help people with autoimmune disorders because we can put special supplements in it, like alpha lipoic acid. It's very good for neuropathy.
Okay.
It's an antioxidant, and it's very good for neuromuscular neurodegenerative issues, things like that. The B vitamins are very good for energy and stress, and vitamin C and zinc, very good for the immune system. Vitamin D is good for the immune system. Although vitamin D is fat soluble, we don't usually put that in an IV, but we can give injections if someone needs that.
So the average person with having just a terrible week and feeling awful or lack of sleep, and they could come in and get fixed.
Yes, now it's not FDA approved, so we can't say that it is a cure, but it can certainly support and enhance your immune system.
Got it.
And there's been lots of studies done on a smaller scale, not like your large pharmacology things, because these are natural supplements, so we don't usually have the large pharmacies doing these studies, but lots of small clinical studies that have verified their efficacy, if you will, you know, how well they work. And I have many patients. I mean, I actually have a cancer patient who's been coming for high dose vitamin C. She's getting alpha lipoic acid, and after 12 weeks, I'm happy to say her tumor size has diminished by 90%. Yeah,
That's
breast
amazing.
cancer.
That
Yes.
is amazing.
It is amazing. And I get, again, you know, and she still does traditional medicine. She still did her chemo. She's going to do radiation and all those things. I'm not against that. I'm for that. I think that a well-rounded approach is probably most often the best approach.
I love that. Yeah. We definitely have to have her come in.
Yeah.
We would love to hear that journey.
Yeah. That's a hard one.
That had to feel great when you got that news, though.
Oh, we were excited, super excited. Yeah.
That is so good.
Yeah. So high dose vitamin C is a topical in itself as well, because vitamin C is an antioxidant, but at higher doses it's pro-oxidative. But I think we're going to make that a show all on its own, because it's
Sounds like it should be.
one of my favorite things to talk about.
We're gonna get Rachel all jazzed up now.
Yeah. So the process when you come in for an IV, in case people were wondering, you come in, you fill out your paperwork. We need to know your health history. We need to know, you know, any past conditions that you may have had or surgeries or so forth. Make sure you're a good candidate. For example, if you have CHF or if you're on dialysis, you know, we need to reconsider that, because it may not be right for you. It's not, as with anything, not everything is appropriate for everyone, right?
Sounds right. Okay.
Just like anytime you put something in your body, you run the risk of a side effect or an issue. So we have to be mindful of that. So we get your health history, we find all that out, and then we decide what's your goal. You know, what do you want from your IV? Because we customize IVs here. We have standard drips. We have a standard Myers drip. We have an immunity drip to help you boost your immune system. But you may come to me with certain complaints, you know.
Okay.
And then so I might specialize it for you. If you have migraines and you need something, maybe you're having nausea, we'll add some Pepcid or Zofran into your IV or whatever. Or we give it separate from the IV, but we'll put it into your IV placement, not in the bag. Does that make sense?
Okay, yes.
Things like that, but we find out what your goals are, and we customize your drip, and then we start your IV, which is just putting a catheter in a vein, and then it infuses, and we have I like to think, a very comfortable room. You've been in there.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. In fact, you've had IVs.
And I can attest, I am someone who is scared to death, as you know, of needles and IV is the worst for me.
You know, any past conditions that you may have had or surgeries or so forth. Make sure you're a good candidate. For example, if you have CHF or if you're on dialysis, you know, we need to reconsider that, because it may not be right for you. It's not, as with anything, not everything is appropriate for everyone, right?
Sounds right. Okay.
Just like anytime you put something in your body, you run the risk of a side effect or an issue. So we have to be mindful of that. So we get your health history, we find all that out, and then we decide what's your goal. You know, what do you want from your IV? Because we customize IVs here. We have standard drips. We have a standard Myers drip. We have an immunity drip to help you boost your immune system. But you may come to me with certain complaints, you know.
Okay.
And then so I might specialize it for you. If you have migraines and you need something, maybe you're having nausea, we'll add some Pepcid or Zofran into your IV or whatever. or give it separate from the IV, but we'll put it into your IV placement, not in the bag. Does that make sense?
Okay, yes, yes.
Things like that, but we find out what your goals are, and we customize your drip, and then we start your IV, which is just putting a catheter in a vein, and then it infuses, and we have I like to think, a very comfortable room. You've been in there.
Yes.
In fact, you've had IVs.
And I can attest, I am someone who is scared to death, as you know, of needles for it, and IV is the worst for me because I have very small veins, and you know I'm a challenge, and I can tell you it was a great experience. It really was. I felt very comfortable.
Good, yeah. We try. We have recliners, you recline back, we have a television in the room, you can watch what you want, or music. We do have a fireplace because some people get chilly, not because the IV is not cold, but your body temperature is 98.6 and the IV is room temperature. So some people do feel a little cool at first, so we can warm the room right up. Plus it gives a nice ambiance.
Yes, it was very nice.
Yeah, we have a waterfall in there. It's very relaxing. We can dim the lights, pillows, blankets, whatever you need. We have snacks and drinks. We try to make it a very comfortable experience, not painful at all. And then you get your drip. And that's pretty much it. We'll send you home with some instructions. Keep an eye on the site, and most people do just fine.
Yeah. So to get this started, they come in and I know they have to do their paperwork and their consent and everything. They start the IV. Now, how often do you feel people should be doing it on average? Does the average person come in like once a month to do their IV therapy, or do they come a couple times a week?
So it depends on what their goals are. If it's someone that I'm just starting, say with MS, I will make that drip and they'll come in once a week for 4 weeks, and then we'll do once every 2 weeks, and then we'll see how they feel, and they can probably just maintain with once a month.
Okay.
But it's different for each person. It depends on the severity also of your symptoms. If you're having symptoms, I really love to treat conditions. Fibromyalgia is another one. We might want you to come in every week for 3 weeks to 4 weeks, get feeling better, and then taper you down to once a month.
And what do you
Some
do
people
for
come once every 3 months.
What do you do for fibromyalgia? Because I hear that a lot from people.
Yeah, B vitamins, a lot of B vitamins, vitamin C to get rid of inflammation, and ALA, alpha lipoic acid, yeah. Glutathione. Glutathione is an antioxidant that I think everyone should have.
Oh, really?
And that is very helpful for inflammation as well. And then we also have NED. Some people, I can send them home with...
That's a hot word right now,
Yeah.
NAD. I hear that everywhere.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. I mean, they call that one, that helps you to stay young.
Yes. They're saying it's the fountain of youth.
Fountain of youth, yes. Now, you can get that in an IV, which is a very slow IV because it is so, I don't want to say potent. Maybe that's the right word to say.
Okay.
It's so effective. I think that's
Really?
a better word. That yes, you can actually feel side effects if it's given in an IV drip too quickly. So I actually recommend, I send people home with injections, subcutaneous. Just stick it in any little pinch an inch little fatty
Really?
cell. Yeah, 3 times a week.
That's my next journey, anti-aging.
Yeah. Oh, it's good. It's good stuff. Makes your hair grow better, your nails, your skin.
Say less.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Okay.
So that's a good question. What is next? Oh, maybe I should talk about too what to expect after the IV.
Okay.
I don't think I mentioned that.
Okay.
So after your IV, we take the IV out. You just you shouldn't have any issues. You'll keep an eye on your IV site. I've never had anyone have a problem, but obviously if you did, you could call us. But most people are fine. And then just expect your urine to maybe be a little colored, either orange or yellow, a little brighter than normal. Some people tell me it smells like a multivitamin when they pee. That's all normal.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And some people, if you're I have some people come, they're already healthy, they take good care of themselves, and they just do the vitamins just to maintain their health, and they don't feel a big difference but it's working at the cellular level, so we know that it's helping them. And over the long term, I think they feel better. But people who maybe have a chronic condition or are not feeling well might feel an extra pep in their step, if you will, the next day. And yeah, I was going to say something, I forget now what it was. Oh well.
Okay.
Yeah, what was it? I felt like it was important too. Now I can't think of it. I guess it wasn't that important.
Oh, maybe you should talk about the benefits with chronic GI conditions,
Okay,
because that's huge for everybody.
that's true.
All right,
Okay.
so let's go back to another IV therapy.
Mhm.
I know a big problem with, I'm just even gonna say, within my family, a lot of GI problems. There's gut issues. I have a family member with Crohn's. I have a family member who has very serious stomach issues. So what would they do?
Actually, it can be very helpful. Glutamine is actually very good for the gut, and I can put that in an IV. I do have a patient who comes to me. She had bariatric surgery. I think she's been on my Instagram with a testimonial.
Yeah.
She's had bariatric surgery, and she's not been the same ever since. She has trouble with absorption. She has abdominal pain. She has difficulty eating. So she doesn't feel like she gets nutrients. She gets dehydrated. So she comes in regularly. And I give her glutamine, and it fixes her right up. Or at least she feels better. So that's one thing I could put in the IV. But I also give her the same, vitamin C again for the immune system, glutathione for her any autoimmune or well, hers is not autoimmune, but for any inflammation. Biotin is another good one.
Okay.
And some amino acids, so the proteins are very good also for helping to heal the gut.
Now, how often does she come in to get a therapy, or is it
She was
expensive?
coming every week, but she comes now an average once a month, sometimes twice a month, depending on how she feels.
Okay.
If she needs a little booster, she'll come another.
So with the progress, it lessens a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, because the glutamine especially really helps to heal the gut, and she can eat better,
Yeah.
And so it's good for leaky gut, it's good for Crohn's, it's good for,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And that's what I wanted to say. I couldn't remember earlier. I wanted to talk about how the benefits of IV over taking oral.
Oh, okay.
So, a lot of us are all about vitamins. We love taking vitamins, but we can only at home take it by mouth. And a lot of your vitamins, when you take them by mouth, are only absorbed 10 to 50% really is what you're getting, because the body will either flush it out or it has to be taken with other nutrients, such as, some fat soluble vitamins. You need to be eating fatty foods. That's not what I want to say. You want to be eating foods that have fats for it to cling to absorb it, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Then I'm having trouble forming words.
Yeah, give me an example. What should they eat?
So vitamin D, when you take vitamin D, you should take it with a meal.
Okay.
Take it with a meal, not a high fat meal, but at least some of those fats in the meal will help you absorb that vitamin D better.
Okay.
A, D, E, and K, all those vitamins are fat soluble.
Oh, and see, most people don't know that. I didn't know that. I would just take them whenever with my coffee. So,
yeah.
So you're saying I'm losing most of it that way.
Yeah, you're not absorbing all of it for sure.
Okay.
But even your water soluble vitamins, you're not absorbing all of it. But when you get it through an IV, it's 100%.
Wow.
You're absorbing, it's going right to the cells.
Wow. Okay. Huge difference.
Yes. So that's the big benefit of getting supplementation through an IV.
Okay. Eyes are cheering. I should save that for a good moment.
Yeah.
I think we should also talk about the office.
Okay.
And then she can just paste it wherever it needs to be. But another part of IV Rejuvenation is the office is so patient friendly, and what we'd also like to hear from everybody is any events that you think would help with your journey and your health journey. We like to do speakers or recognition, and I think it would be really fun to do more events too, because we are a big family here and we consider all of our patients part of our family.
For sure.
So please, if you have any ideas and you want to see something, send them on in and we'll make it happen.
Yeah. I love this office actually. We have multiple rooms. We can, if you do come in for an IV and you want to be alone, some of the IVs I've seen, some of the IV clinics I've seen, there's rows of chairs. We like to give you a little bit of privacy with multiple rooms, because if you have a migraine, you don't want to be sitting with other people. You want to be in a dark room, and you want to be,
That's a really good point, because most of the IV centers I have seen, it is just like one, like a movie theater.
Yeah.
Everybody just lined up, all hooked up, and it is so much more private. It's almost spa-like here. It's almost like going to the spa, and you're just going to decompress, and like you said, the atmosphere with the lights and the music and the fireplace. It really is where you just kind of relax.
Good. Yeah, that's what we try to do.
Yeah. Maybe next time we'll do a tour.
Oh.
We'll do a little tour of the office for
That'd be
everybody.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.